What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another post game here on Mets Central. And the New York Mets win 5-4 over the Philadelphia Phillies to improve to 16-7 and get a much needed win against a division rival. They had to make it difficult because that's just the nature of the beast here, because of course. But we're going to talk about it all. Leave a like on your way into the post game show if you do enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel, especially if you're Met fans, and turn on your notifications so you know when we upload or go live here on Met Central. Like I said, it definitely got very ugly at the end. It definitely was not an easy win, but the Mets get the job done because it was easy until it wasn't. That's really what's infuriating. There was parts with the offense where, yet again, could we please just drive in a few more runs? Juan Soto, we thought maybe was going to get a big home run. Unfortunately, that ended up being foul. And then it just, again, this game got way closer than it needed to. But we're going to talk about it. Like I said, leave a like, all that stuff. And let's jump into it. The first inning, there was a walk to Trey Turner from Tyler McGill. Outside of that, ends up getting through it. Threw a lot of pitches that inning, though. 22 pitches to get through that first, which is very Tyler McGill-esque, if you will. So we're not too surprised there. Then in the bottom of the first, Francisco Lindor ends up getting a leadoff home run yet again to make it 1-0, giving Nola some flashbacks here. That's what the Mets did early on, honestly. After that, they went down in order. McGill strikes out the side in the second inning, and he looked really good, just showing good command with his fastball. And that was really the thing that was eye-opening to me, because I'm like, all right, he's commanding the fastball, and he's actually commanding his pitches right now nice and early. Let's see how it continues. Bottom of the second, Jesse Winker gave Nola even more flashbacks as he ends up hitting a home run to make it 2-0. It's just unfortunately the Mets go down in order afterwards, but still a 2-0 lead. Tyler McGill gets into a huge jam in the third inning, and this inning is the biggest reason why Tyler McGill did not go deep into this game. He strikes out Bohm, gets Rojas the ground out, and then, like he usually does, like we've talked about pretty much every single time here, with two outs, he's got to make it interesting, as Bryson Stott ends up getting a single. Then he walks Turner and Harper, strikes out Kyle Schwarber. But early on, and even there a bit, he was just dotting up the strike zone. It was beautiful to watch, just painting the corners with the four seam, painting the inside part of the plate, painting the outside part of the plate. And then he was also generating the swing and miss stuff on that Schwarber at bat in particular, where he gets him on two changeups to end there. And that was beautiful to watch. We go to the third inning where the Mets get traffic on the bases and don't score. And this is where I was getting infuriated, because it's just more of the same with this offense, where they score a couple solo shots and score every now and then some runs, but it's just they get traffic on the bases, just don't get that big hit there. Tyrone Taylor gets a single, Lindor walks, and then this is where we thought Juan Soto got that home run, as it got crushed to the upper deck. And I really thought that, I thought initially it went foul, and I'm like, and then when they said it was a home run, I'm like celebrating and going crazy because Juan Soto finally got his first home run at Citi Field. And then unfortunately, it did not end up being the case there, as he has to get back in the box, grounds out, and then Alonso strikes out on three pitches too, which was really disappointing to see, because Pete Alonso's been locked in all season. We've not seen him strike out on three pitches a lot. And then Brandon Nimmo strikes out, which is something we unfortunately are a little bit accustomed to these days. But in the fourth inning, nice, easy inning for Tyler McGill, which was good to see. The bottom of the fourth, a single from Winker, then Torrens hits into a double play. Acuna grounds out. We go to the top of the fifth. Bohm gets hit by a pitch. And then McGill settles down and ends up getting three straight strikeouts. He was just, again, dotting up the zone, and it was really nice to watch. And we go to the bottom of the fifth, 1-2-3 inning. Again, the biggest problem for me with the offense today, they let Nola settle in way too easily. When they jumped on him early and when they were getting guys on base and creating havoc, I was like, this is exactly what you need to do. Get to that bullpen as early as possible, because that bullpen is just not good at all for the Phillies. Harper walks, Schwarber flies out, and then McGill gets pulled out for Reed Garrett. And Garrett, he allowed a single to Kepler, but outside of that, ends up striking out JT Realmuto with an absolutely filthy sinker to end the inning there. We go to the bottom of the sixth, where again the Mets get traffic, and it does not matter, because this was really more unlucky, though. I'm not even that mad. about it compared to the other innings. This one was just infuriating because Soto grounds out, Alonso and Nimmo get back-to-back singles, and then Winker hits into a double play. I lied. I was angry, but it was definitely just really bad fortune there to end up having that unfold the way it did. Kranick comes in, 1-2-3 inning. The bottom of the seventh, thank goodness the Mets ended up scoring runs here as Torrens grounds out. Acuna gets a single. Beatty walks, and then that forces them to go to the bullpen finally. Taylor hits into a force out, and credit to him for running it out because the inning would have ended there. And Francisco Lindor hits a home run. Right as Gary was saying, does he only start games and end games hitting a home run? He absolutely tanked this thing to center field. A pitch right down the deck for him to make it 5-0. And it was just beautiful to watch. Juan Soto then grounds out. The eighth inning, Kranick, he allowed a single to Schwarber, but still looked fine. A 1-2-3 inning, unfortunately, for Banks in the bottom of the eighth. And then the Mets, of course, had to make it interesting as here comes so Kranick was in, I should say, right? Kranick stays in. He allows a double to Kepler, then a single to Real Muto. Right then and there, I felt he should have been pulled. Then Bohm gets a single, and I'm like, all right, you got to pull him. And it took a bit. They hesitate, but they pulled him. Diaz comes in, gets a fly out from Stevenson, but that fly out honestly had me worried that this was going to get interesting. And then Bryson Stott, sure enough, hits a home run to make it 5-4 as Edwin Diaz just leaves a fastball right on the inside part of the plate to him to turn on. And that made it a 5-4 game. Thankfully, he strikes out the last two batters, but it leaves what could have been, or what I should say what could have been, because it still is good to get the win, especially against the Phillies. But it took what was going to be an electric and really exciting win and then made it leave a little bit of a sour taste in our mouths where now we're kind of like, all right, we have to ask questions about Diaz. We really have to ask questions, and they're all valid. Kranick, I'm not too mad because of the fact that the workload is just it's been a lot for him. Like, I'm not that mad just because of that situation. I'm mad more at Mendoza for not knowing that, all right, you got to pull him a little bit earlier or maybe go to a different arm there in that situation to start that inning, because I get that Kranick is a guy that you want to get volume from, and I get that you want to save your bullpen, but you got to at least know that there's some limits here. I mean, he went up to 36 pitches. There's a reason that he's not in a starting spot anymore and why he's in the bullpen to begin with. It's because he can't give that sort of length. And I get that 40 pitches should be reasonable from a long man, but he's also been pitching like two innings so much to where it's going to catch up, and he's going to have these type of outings. But I'm not too mad at him. I'm more mad at Diaz for allowing the home run, and he got the save, right? He got the save. That's all that matters. But I'm very worried with Edwin Diaz because the velocity is just not there. And every time he's in the game, I mean, I just don't have confidence at all. And I'm sure a lot of you guys in the chat feel similar. And I had people during the podcast episode that were saying Diaz is not in the circle of trust. And I kind of pushed back and said, half of a minute. After tonight, might have changed my opinion a little bit, and it might be recency bias, but they're going to stick with them. And like I said on the podcast, it's going to be the case. And it is what it is with that, because he's getting the money. He's going to get these situations time in and time out, whether we like it or not. So there's very big concerns here that I have, but it's just, again, like, what are they going to do about it realistically? I just don't know how they could handle this any other way. The only other thing for tonight's game, and I think this really sucks too, is that when Reed Garrett came in and allowed that single, I wonder if he doesn't allow that single and just gets the first two batters easily, if he comes in to start the next inning and gets maybe another batter or two, and then that keeps Kranick a little more fresh to get through the outing. Maybe that was the initial plan, which would have helped, but that's neither here nor there at this point. It just really unfortunate that it got closer than it needed to. And then again, I would have liked for them to capitalize a little more with runners in scoring position. But I don't want that to take away from the fact that Francisco Lindor just absolutely annihilated the Phillies like he usually does. 2 for 3, 4 RBIs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Just unbelievable from him. Just an unbelievable performance from Francisco Lindor, like we're accustomed to seeing. Winker, I was saying on the podcast, I want more production from the DH spot. Really good game from him. Really good game. And I hope that he could build off of this because they got to get more production from the DH spot, especially if Nimmo's going to hit the way that he has. And, Alonso, he's going, I'm not saying he's cooling off right now. I want to make that clear, but he's going to cool off at some point. We know that it's unrealistic for him to sustain these numbers throughout the course of 162. If he does it, I mean, he's winning the MVP, but it's just unrealistic, unfortunately, for that to be the case. So they need guys like Winker to really step up in the middle of that lineup. It just is what it is there. Acuna, really loving what I'm seeing from him. I think that he has a hit streak now as well. So really good stuff there. Let's get back to Tyler McGill, though, who, again, you look at the baseline, you see 10 strikeouts, you're like, all right, really good. No earned runs, 1 hit. What went wrong? 4 walks. The pitch count getting high. It's exactly what went wrong. And it's unfortunate that this is kind of what happens with Tyler McGill every single start, because if the command was just better, just slightly better, I hate to play if man here, but why can't the command just be slightly better to where Tyler McGill goes out there and could give you the length of an ace? Because he looked so good out there with those strikeouts that he was getting, though. Like, that's the thing. And then he was getting some good swing and miss stuff, too, especially on the sinker. Maybe he starts utilizing that more, which would be nice to see, which I get the four seam was working for him, but I'd like to maybe see the sinker usage go up. And it's interesting now that back-to-back outings, the slider usage a little bit more down. I'd like to see him incorporate that a little bit more. But regardless, really love, for the most part, I love what Tyler McGill gave today. But yeah, I think that's really all my thoughts. I'll get to the chat now and see what you guys are saying about this game. Would love to hear what you guys think. Leave a like if you haven't already. Like I mentioned, subscribe if you guys are new. Turn on your notifications, all that stuff. Let's see what you guys are saying. Ray saying, I don't care how we got the win. I get that it was harder than it should have been, but I'll take a win against the Phillies all day. Big step forward. I agree with you there that you take the win and run with it. But because there is a but here, I think it's fair to have legitimate concerns about Edwin Diaz after this game. I think it's very fair because he has not looked sharp all season long. And, it's not even just the games where he's allowing runs. The velo being down and the control issues just are very concerning to me. Leave the game before the game leaves you. Lindor might actually be underpaid. He might just be, honestly. Crazy times from how the narrative has changed there. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the hockey game that's over on my other monitor as the Stars just tied their game up with Colorado in the first. No more April Lindor. He's been unreal as of lately. Like I said, let's see it on the road. Let's see it on the road because for whatever reason, he's hitting at home. It just has to translate to the road games. So let's see. Diaz, Colossi, and Williams, all perfect examples of why you don't pay closers. Even Hader, who has been shaky. Someone replied to me, and I've thought this before too. I really wonder what would have happened if Stearns was in charge when that contract was being handed out. I mean, it definitely wouldn't have been. But the other problem is that I'm sure they like the marketing side of Edwin Diaz with the trumpets and everything. Oh, Robles vibes. That's rough. feel like Kranick could be a very good closer. Yeah, I mean, that's why even like yesterday, I want him in with guys on base because I trust him with that. It just kind of the Jose Budo thing where when you're relying on him too much to get so many outs in these outings, it catches up at some point. And I'm a little worried that it might start to cause him to be ran into the ground the way that we saw with Budo last year, the way we saw with a guy like Nunez and even Reed Garrett at one point. And I agree that I trust Stanek more too. I trust Stanek and I trust Garrett a lot more than Edwin Diaz right now. But at the end of the day, we know realistically they're going to stick with Diaz as the closer and stick with them in those big spots. But I definitely agree with you that I trust Stanek more. But either way, like you said, he pitched yesterday, so he probably wasn't available. But I trust Reed Garrett way more. Nimmo is brutal. Yeah, I'm not liking what I'm seeing from Nimmo right now. I'm not liking it at all. He just looks so lost. And like I've said for a bit, he just really looks like he's having an identity crisis up there at the plate. And that's the biggest concern to me. Siler came to play today. He absolutely did. The ace was always here. You just had to believe. Yeah, Nemo's just not on his game right now. Just terrible at bats is honestly right. And to me, he just does not look healthy still at all. I really think that's part of it. To me, he does not look 100% because when they're showing him trying to make a play in the outfield and he's moving so slow out there, I'm like, does he still have issues with the plantar fasciitis? Because he does not look like the Brandon Nimmo we're accustomed to, where he's flying on the bases, running after walks, even. And I don't know. I mean, it shouldn't correlate too much to the at bats to where he's swinging at some garbage pitches, but I believe that's at least part of it to some degree here. I wish they could. I really wish they could. My girl in that New York breeze gets Lindor going. It could just be. I hope he continues it on the road so we could just end our little fake narrative that we have here, our running joke, I should say, that we have going on here. And I think he will. I mean, he looks just so comfortable at the plate right now to where I don't see why he doesn't snap out of it. Yeah, I place money on a bet. Not gonna lie. Yeah. And people say that it's impossible for me to be enthusiastic about a team, right? It's what people say that I'm a fake fan and for the Rangers and that I never happy, right? That's what they say. Hey, check out this channel. Would highly recommend it. Yeah, it was definitely low still today. Definitely. I just I don't know what the answer is right now. I really do not know what the answer is for Diaz other than is he not 100%? Is does he need more time to ramp up a little bit more? Like if he does, put him in lower leverage spots. Can we not play Marte tomorrow? I hate telling good people bad news. I hope he doesn't play, but he's going to play. Let's be real, he's going to play with the lefty on the mound. But Acuna will play, and he better play because he looks so good right now. And I'd imagine Vientos gets back in the lineup tomorrow because he was available to pinch hit tonight, but obviously they didn't need to utilize him. I'd imagine he's going to be available with the lefty on the mound tomorrow, especially. I don't know if Beatty's going down for Jeff because I think it's going to be Ozakar going down unless they really have had enough with Brett Beatty. I mean, it could be, but I don't know if I see it. Whose jersey do we think in the clearance section by the deadline? I don't know. I don't want to speculate deadline stuff in April, but I mean, the guy that needs to go by the deadline is Marte. He's the one that absolutely has to go because this is the thing. Like, Winker had a good game today, but this is really it. Like, they need a real DH to solidify the middle of that lineup fully. Maybe just delusional, but what if they name Lindor captain during the David Wright number retirement? A lot of people have speculated that to potentially be the case, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I really don't know. I would love for it to happen. I think it would be a good way to pass the torch to him because Lindor should be the captain. He is the unofficial one to all of us. So I would love that. But I have a feeling that it might just be next season that they do it. Beatty should never play over Acuna. I feel if Beatty is still up, he will get playing time over Acuna. I agree there. Like, don't get me wrong. I would personally want him to be optioned to AAA, but I just think that they're going to go the route of sending down Ozakar to AAA when Jeff is healthy. I disagree with this only because last year he looked fine down the stretch, which he was shaky at points, but that was mostly control. He was getting the velocity up in a lot of those outings last year. It took a bit to get there, don't get me wrong, but he got there at one point. So I don't know how much I agree with that part of it, but he definitely again, like I think that the problem is there's an in between here from the 2022 version and the 2019 version, and I think last year was kind of that in between with Edwin Diaz. And maybe he could be a bit better, but it's concerning. Yeah, I don't know either why. I really don't know why. I thought after this season it was like a lock to name Lindor captain, but for whatever reason they didn't go that route, and I don't know why. All right, I'm gonna wrap things up here so I can go back to watching some playoff hockey, playoff hoops, all that stuff. Thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live. I'll see you guys in the next one.